Imagine a hell without flames or demons, just three people trapped together, endlessly reflecting each other's flaws. In Sartre's famous play No Exit, the line, "Hell is the other people," captures the torment of living under constant judgment, where our identity hinges on how others see us. This is a story of guilt, denial, and the prison of seeking external validation, a psychological hell that forces us to confront an unsettling truth. We are often our own captors. This play takes place in one room, with no mirrors, where three characters, Garcin, Estelle, and Inez, are stuck together forever. Their punishment isn't fire or torture, but being forced to face each other's presence and judgment. Sartre uses this to show how guilt, pressure, and lies about ourselves can become impossible to escape. Each character becomes a reflection of the other's mistakes, making it clear that sometimes the hardest thing to deal with is how others see us. The characters are locked in an eternal struggle with themselves and each other. Garcin, Estelle, and Inès are condemned not because of specific crimes, but because of their failure to accept responsibility for their lives and actions. Sartre argues that human beings often avoid self-acceptance by turning outward, relying on external validation to define themselves. The more they seek this validation, the more they become imprisoned by others' perceptions of them, reinforcing the hellish nature of their existence. Garcin, a man who fled from the battlefield, spends the play attempting to justify his actions and assert his bravery. However, his internal conflict arises from his inability to escape the shame of his cowardice. His torment is amplified by the relentless gaze of Estelle and Inez, whose judgments he cannot escape. He desires approval, but he cannot reconcile his self-perception with the judgment he receives from the others. Garcin's punishment, Sartre argues, lies not in the external punishment, but in his own inability to confront the truth of his actions. His internal conflict becomes his eternal suffering. He cannot accept that he was a coward and cannot escape the judgment of others, even in the afterlife. Estelle, on the other hand, is consumed by vanity and her desperate need to be desired. She cannot accept her own moral failings, particularly the fact that she murdered her child, and she seeks only the attention of others. Her existence is so bound to external validation that she is incapable of achieving peace, even after death. Throughout the play, Estelle is obsessed with the idea that her worth comes from the gaze of others, particularly Garcin. She desperately craves his approval, as it offers her a sense of value and self-worth. Her refusal to acknowledge her sins, paired with her obsession with the validation of others, defines her torment in Sartre's existential hell. Inez, the most self-aware of the three, faces her own cruelty with cold indifference. While Estelle and Garcin deceive themselves to avoid confronting their actions, Inez fully grasps the consequences of her sins, including manipulating and causing the death of another. Yet, she refuses to take full responsibility for her actions, instead deriving satisfaction from her sadistic tendencies. Inez's punishment is not rooted in ignorance, but in her complete rejection of self-forgiveness. She has no remorse for her actions, which leads to her unrelenting suffering. Inez finds a perverse satisfaction in the control she exerts over others, especially Garcin, using his need for approval to maintain her power over him. The theme of the look is critical in understanding the character's plight. Sartre argues that when we are observed by others, we are reduced to mere objects, and our identities become defined by how others see us. This is evident in the interactions between Garcin, Estelle, and Inès, who are trapped in a cycle of constant observation and judgment. The characters are unable to escape each other's gaze, and their identities are shaped not by their true selves, but by the perceptions of others. This eternal gaze forms the psychological prison they are trapped in, preventing them from living authentically and achieving peace. The characters' suffering stems from their reliance on the judgment of others to define their existence. Sartre's existentialism contends that true freedom comes when we cease to rely on external validation. Only when we embrace ourselves for who we truly are, without seeking approval or fearing judgment, can we achieve peace. In No Exit, Sartre explores this idea through the characters' refusal to face themselves and their actions. Each of them, in their own way, clings to an external definition of self, and this dependency keeps them trapped in a hell of their own making. This philosophical concept of bad faith, the act of deceiving oneself to avoid the responsibility of facing uncomfortable truths, pervades the play. Garcin's constant attempt to justify his cowardice, Estelle's obsession with being desired, and Inez's refusal to accept responsibility for her cruelty are all manifestations of bad faith. They cannot see themselves clearly because they are too absorbed in how others see them. This inability to live authentically and confront the truth of their actions is the essence of their suffering. Sartre's No Exit offers a stark and haunting depiction of human suffering. The play does not present the hell of Christian doctrine with flames and demons, but rather a more psychological and existential hell, one that is constructed by our inability to escape the judgments of others. The characters are punished not because of their external actions, but because they cannot transcend the gaze of others. Sartre's message is clear. True freedom comes only when we stop depending on others to define us, only when we accept responsibility for our lives and stop seeking external validation can we break free from the hell of constant judgment. In the end, Sartre's No Exit challenges us to reflect on our own relationships with others and our dependence on their gaze. It forces us to confront the existential truth that we are not free as long as we rely on the opinions of others to define who we are. Only by embracing self-acceptance and living authentically can we transcend this existential hell and find peace. This message, both liberating and terrifying, remains as relevant today as when Sartre first penned it.